car does not need wheels. Like, what? What are you talking about? How does that make sense? Alrighty, here we go. Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the Smudcast, episode 338, The Problem with Lore.
883. You already are disturbing the law by guessing the number.
880. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way. At first, I thought this was a Star Trek reference, and then I saw, oh, he's talking about Transformers, and then I'm like, oh, then it's a vlog style. He's going to be talking about things in general for 30 minutes about. So I don't know what to expect here. I'm really not sure. I can't see this being a positive video if the title is, I have a problem with stories having consistent information. Like it blows my, it's like saying,
insane.
It's like a wall doesn't need solid bricks. You know, it's like, wait a second. You can put any bricks you want. It's like, no, you can't. What are you talking about? So no, something's wrong fundamentally with this argument. And if he does not come out really strong, like he's referencing Plato and Aristotle, then I'm going to be like, oh, nope, this guy got to go back to school.
Can't reference Aristotle because Aristotle is on the side of consistency and causality.
Well, you can reference the Poetics and you can interpret them in a different way. So that would be, again, an uphill battle, but you can do it. That's how smart someone could be. I'm not getting that much from a vlogger who's looks like he's filming himself with his cell phone or something. Or his
So he's at war with logic and reason and causality, and his name is Radix. I assume he is a hard lefty.
What is Radix? Does anyone know? Is that
It's Latin for root,
really? Which
is where the word radical is derived from.
Yes. Oh, alrighty. That's not a good sign. Anyway, 28 minutes of this gentleman talking about hopefully Transformers. Let's find out.
Oh dear.
So I saw that Athos, or at Octodoxy on Twitter, on X, recently came out with a banger of a tweet. It says, and I quote, "The obsession with lore, canon, power." Oh, I should be like this, shouldn't I be? I'm not a noob. I'm not one of those guys who only records vertically. The obsession with lore, canon, power.
You could have just cut that out instead of doing the joke and then repeating it.
Yeah.
Scaling. It is the necrosis that belies the rot of disenchantment that has eaten away.
The what of the what? The necrosis that belies the rot of the disenchantment of the this of the that. Dude, how many nouns do, like, what is happening?
He thinks he's a poet.
Well, not him, but he's quoting someone, right? So it's like, this is not a good sentence.
I don't think so. I hope he's not quoting somebody, because then that would be two fools.
That's what he's doing. He's quoting someone on X. That was the whole start of the video.
Oh.
So this is not even his words, and he likes this. I'm like, oh no.
Wait, am I already checked out?
I'm angry. He thinks this is good writing or a good reference.
At our the need for
wait. At our cultures? So when we have stories of war where our cultures literally go to war with each other, or our countries go to war with each other, you think that's disenchantment or destruction of disenchantment or whatever? Eating away at our history?
Is history lore?
The lore of, well, yeah.
Should it not be consistent?
It has to be. Whether we're talking about the history of stories or the history of non-fictional stories, they better damn well be consistent, I hope.
Spoon-fed and quantized exactitudes, specifications, and lists of abilities and timelines. It's all degenerate rot.
Why? How?
You can't. You're an Anglo. Don't try to roll the R. You can't do it.
Why is knowing that Superman could pick up a building in 1962 degenerate rot? I don't understand. And the building weighs approximately, like 5 million tons or whatever. Like, why is that a bad thing? I don't get it.
I'm sure he will elaborate.
Yeah.
in more prose.
Do I have to like quote Keats? Like I really fall back on my English stuff and like, what the hell are we doing with their children these days?
What's the lore on this? What's the magic system? I need exact...
Wait, what do you mean, what's the magic?
Oh, he's doing a black and white thing where he a straw man of people needing extremes in minute detail. No, that's not it. That's not necessarily lore. That's mechanics.
I can't believe we're not arguing like the magic system of a fantasy world. Like, you need that. We need to make sense of things.
Yeah, and that's not lore. That is mechanics. How does world operate? That's like claiming physics is history.
What was that writer of Wheel of Time? Was it Sanderson?
And at the end, the original one is Robert Jordan.
Oh, I'm speaking about the new writer because he took over or whatever.
Yeah, Brandon Sanderson finished off the story.
Right, and he did a whole bunch of lectures on why magic systems limiting the power of the characters are so important, and describing how that works is so important for people to grasp and wrap their brains around so they know what the hero can only do. Because if you leave it open, they can do anything with magic. Magic is fantastical.
Yeah. It's why even the warp magic in Warhammer 40k has its limits. The orcs cannot think something into existence out of nothing. That's, for example, that's what they can't do.
Yeah, so the idea of not having a definitive magic system in fantasy or definitive science fiction and sci-fi, that is fundamental. That's necessary. That is, if you don't have that, you're just every chapter could be whatever the hell it wants, and you get tired of reading crap.
Yeah, and that's what the communists.
I don't know.
I'm not making that up.
I don't know.
They want absolute chaos.
I don't know.
They resent logic.
Yeah, but we don't know what this guy's thinking is, because this is just crazy. This has nothing to do with politics. I'm just like, what is going on here?
Yeah, and well, it is juxtaposed with an American flag in the background and some Christian iconography.
Yeah, that's
so
odd.
Maybe it's not his room, but his mom's.
Okay.
I don't know.
Rules. Technically in canon, this character can lift. Oh boy, this is 32,846 pounds, which makes him 2% weaker than You Have Ruined Art and Destroyed Myth.
What?
Not really sure what he's trying to.
I didn't realize consistency was destructive.
Well, if you're going to use...
but he's using the straw man of requiring this extreme minutia.
Yeah, obviously getting to the decimal points and this and that is unnecessary, but there's nothing wrong with being accurate. And
yeah.
In certain cases, like science fiction, you need to be accurate to make sense of what's going on.
Yeah, and The Simpsons already made fun of the hyper-accurate nerd in the 90s. That's old.
Yeah, so using mathematics, stats, or whatever in a science fiction world where that's what makes things work is like, look at, was it the Foundation series by Asimov? Mm-hmm. The whole idea is based off a projection called psychometrics, I think, that humanity is going to be destroyed unless something changes. And the exact numbers aren't given to us, but the projection is that, if we don't change our course, our culture will die, or our people will die.
The general trajectory is there.
Yeah, we don't need the exact numbers. That's the theory. It's based off math, and that's the magic of that world. So great. That's all we need to know. It could be super accurate. It could have...
you can do that. Can do that in reality as well. That's just the basis of logic.
You can do projections, yes, but if you say in your science fiction world, we have a system for predicting general futures, and this is how this works, okay, that's the fiction element. I'm okay with that. If it says this is going to happen exactly at this time and place, then that's something different. But still, the idea is the same. And to say you've ruined the story is like, that's the premise of the story? That doesn't make it a bad story. That's just the premise. It's the storytelling that makes it good or bad, whether it's entertaining or not, whether it wraps your brain around it properly. So, no, I don't think the lack of math or too much math is a problem. It's how much and how it's done, how it's presented to the audience that could be good or bad.
Quantity makes the poison, as always. Or homeopathy.
A powerful tweet. And this has left me thinking about quite a few things. Am I
going to shave a second time this week?
With his fingers?
Am I dumb?
I'm going to say probably, but that's not. I'm not being offensive here. Those are his words. But if
he's trying to edit things,
well, if
14,000 people seem to like him.
If you want to be ignorant and play the ignoramus when you ask a question like, I don't know, like a Socrates or something like that, fair. Let's go with that. But the way that he's coming at this is sounding almost belligerently dumb. Like,
yeah, I can't tell whether he agrees with the tweet or not due to his body language and intonation.
Oh, he loves it. He loves that tweet. He's super happy about it. It's I don't know why though. It's such a bad tweet.
Now, we can all agree that canon is retarded.
Who is all? Who is everyone?
Let me write that down. We can all agree canon is retarded.
This is something the Socialist Unity Party would say, because it kills all the opposition. And then then everybody would say that. Yes.
So consistency, giving limitations to your characters, the world, exposition, detail. Canon is necessary. When we talk about canon, I use the phrase for Sherlock Holmes because anyone can buy or sell a Sherlock Holmes story because it's been over 100 years. And we say the canon of Sherlock Holmes from Arthur Conan Doyle's. So you just read Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes, the entire canon, so everything that he wrote about Sherlock Holmes. I don't think that's retarded. I don't think that will ever be retarded because I don't even think he's using that phrase or that term properly. And I don't know why he'd ever say that. What is going on?
See my video on, see my essay, Franchise Fiction to Slop Pipeline. I turned that into a video, so you can go and check that video out. But in that video, I sort of talk about why canon is something you can ignore. Canon is
no, absolutely.
You had Christian iconography behind you. Is the Bible? Should you reject the canon of the Bible?
Oh no. Oh boy. Let's not get into religion. Oh, that's going to be messy. Oh.
Exactly.
Okay, if you guys don't know what canon is, I just gave like an example, but I guess the definition is like the actual history of events of something. So the Bible, a fictional story, a non-fictional story, it's like this was printed on this page at this number, this sentence, blah, blah, blah. This happened. That's the canon of the story. So characters doing things, events happening, relationships between characters, who lives, who dies, etc. Those are irrefutable facts of the story. This guy says canon is retarded. And I'm like, wait a second. If canon is retarded, that means it's a bad idea or it was ill-placed. It was ill-manufactured. The writer was wrong. And I don't understand that. By principle. Like you can't take your favorite story, the best story you like, and it's wrong. Because this gentleman thinks the idea of history of chapter 1 is just bad. It's just a bad idea. Chapter 2 could be whatever you like. Start a new story entirely. New characters, new plot, new genre. Everything done. Weird.
it's not real. It's not.
Canon is not real. I don't understand.
He's not real.
I don't understand. What are you talking about? How is it not real?
This is the first. This is the foot in the door for rewriting history.
I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm lost. Anyway, let's get some super chats before I lose my mind. Oh, Axton Zero. Hey, how you going? If he believes that lore and the demand for it demystify stories, he is partly right because it's the willing suspension of disbelief. Thank you. This is what people forget. It is not the suspension of disbelief. It is the willing. You have to consciously say, oh, I like this. I wish it were real, and I'm going to keep reading it or watching it or playing it because I want to see what happens next. You have to want this story to be real. You have to want these characters to be real and the plots they have. That is very important when we're talking about storytelling because people forget that phrase, the willing suspension. Next, also 5, thank you, sir. However, myths were made to give wisdom. Okay.
Yes.
Modern stories attempt this too, but because the moral is so contrived, they're better as an escape instead. Okay.
Oftentimes.
Some stories, yeah, I will say that. It's not...
Hollywood isn't very good on wisdom.
Plus a lot of
on morals. The opposite.
It depends nowadays because a lot of people just want to be entertained. They don't think about the other elements.
Look, that's why we love Japanese media so much.
Well, they have so much beautiful symbolism that you can interpret it in the basic way, the boy gets girl, or in a more philosophical way. The boy grew up to be a man and he gets the girl. So
yeah, that's why the left hates Japan and its media.
Maybe because Japan is so open with everything. You could just write pretty much what you like, get it published. People are like, "Oh, that's weird."
Yeah, and it's full of morals and wisdoms because it adheres to causality. Because causality is the brick in your face, and then you learn, oh, maybe I should watch that. Bam, that's wisdom.
I'm still waiting for the premise here, aside from everything is wrong, and then we jump into Transformers somehow.
Yeah, I'd say his body language, his weird smug smile that he has right here in this frame too, is telling me that he knows he's talking crap, and he gets high on the self-delusion of getting away with it.
Being a contrarian.
And he likes to destroy things.
Yeah, he's a contrarian. That's
what this is driven by.
Subversive
sadism.
Person. Ha! I know what words mean. They don't mean what you think they should. Like, okay.
I can use words in order to destroy the things you like and make you feel bad. It's a magic spell. Ha!
My parents are fueling my university degree. I'm fighting the system or whatever. I don't know.
What a waste of money.
It's not companies do not...
Companies?
I shouldn't regurgitate everything I've already said in a previous video. Just go and see my franchise fiction to stop pipeline video.
No thanks.
And canon, bad. Not a big fan of how canon is used.
What does that mean?
How it is used? It just is.
What does it mean how canon is used? Do you mean like when Arthur Conan Doyle brought back Sherlock and Sherlock referenced his death from the previous time he fell down Reichenbach Falls and explained it how he had to swim and Moriarty smashed his head on the rocks, but he didn't, and yada yada. Is that like like retroactively rewriting canon? That could be a bad thing. Sure, I could see that.
Is it a bad thing to keep the consistency of Philip J. Fry's backstory that he is a man from the year 1999, cryogenically frozen and unthawed in the year 3000? And his best friend is a robot. And his love interest is a Cyclops. Who's an alien that turns out to be a mutant. Should we just change that every episode?
Yeah. Why not? Because again, canon is bad. Or how it's used is poor for some reason. I just don't get it. We have all these actors, we have all these characters we've created, we have all these backgrounds, we have all this music. Let's just change the entire story, the entire genre, every episode or every chapter.
Al Bundy once managed to get 4 touchdowns in one game in high school football. That's canon. That happened.
All right.
Kill the sort of enchantment that exists in art, especially modern day things like science fiction, I think.
Are you crazy? Are you insane? Do you seriously think people watching Star Trek think, oh, dilithium crystals, what a horrible, horrible idea. How dare they keep using them all this time? If only we had another, I don't know, post-scarcity power source to make things right better or whatever.
Yeah, he could not say this if he knew what the word science means.
Or science
fiction. Because we
fiction.
get back, well, science fiction is fictional science. Like ideas that, well, what if this or that existed? What would that cause? How would we interact with it? What would be the causality chain? Because it's about causality. And if there is no law, if everything is random and chaotic, there is no such thing as causality. And this is why you can deduce, not just interpret, that the left really wants to collapse all of existence, reality itself, back into the primordial chaos from which, depending on what mythology or religion you go by, the creator god made everything, because that's just through distinction and causality. That's all that is. It's all downstream from there. Sorting things, putting order into things.
I think there's,
and that is what you get lore from and canon in the end.
I think there's something wrong here. I don't know what it is, but I don't think he has his words right. I think he might be meaning something else, like another term. But I don't know what that other term might be, because this is really bad.
I think he's just full of himself, which is why he wears those glasses.
Oh, aren't I a hipster? Now, Athos brings a really great point here in his tweet where he talks about power scaling.
But that is a technique by a writer. I don't see how did we go from canon, the very nature of historical reference of something that happened in a story, to introducing elements of conflict that are just above the hero's ability to conquer, and he has to learn to develop to get over that hurdle. I don't see how that's an issue, or ever was an issue at all. You might argue it gets silly or contrived once we get to like gods and like Dragon Ball or whatever, but Dragon Ball has always been that way, so it doesn't really matter how high it goes. Just how it's done, how it's presented. That's the problem. So
generally, you want a slow escalation. You want a slow escalation of the story, and the threats you face. Like when the hero is still 12, he's not gonna go up against the menace of. He's not gonna go up against Galactus.
Right, and that's why we like the inversion of that with like One Punch Man, where he's already a god, but he's so sad that he's a god because he has nothing to do. There's nothing. He has nowhere to go. He has nowhere to grow as a hero. He's stuck, and he's running around in a sort of, how do I interact? How do I have a life in this world where everyone's cardboard? So, well,
that's a very special thing. That is lore. That is also, well, the causality downstream from the setup, from the premise, and what was the other idea I just had? No, go on.
Okay, power scaling. Here we go.
And I have strong feelings on power scaling, and it has amazed me that I have not talked about power scaling on this channel before.
I bet he just thinks of
I have
numbers.
strong feelings about it. Power scaling, when you have a situation where like they try to quantify the amount of...
Told you. It's all about just the number thing for him. He doesn't understand the concept behind it. Like the new Fantastic Four movie has that problem. Because they go up against Galactus in the first movie. Instead of doing something basic and then something intermediary. No, they go to the absolute end game boss immediately and pop him. Like what's left to do then? That's why you have power scaling, because you need to continue with threat. Everything else after this is like the issue with Thanos in Endgame. Once you've done that, the absolute galaxy level, no, reality level threat, you've beaten that. What do you do now? How are we to take any other threat seriously? There are ways to do that, but Hollywood isn't.
Yeah, but the Fantastic Four, it took a whole 5 other years for Galactus' debut after the Fantastic Four, so he wasn't there from day one either.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what he has to say.
That's the most stupidest thing.
It's just it's just a writing technique. I don't see how that's a stupid thing at all.
Not really, and you can make such tests. You can quantify most things.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, even if it's a bad idea, a good writer can make it sound and come across as understandable, clear, fun, entertaining, kind of goofy at times. There's so many things you could do with, how does the hero how does David fight Goliath? Oh, he gets his hand crushed. Oh, no, that's so, there's funny ways to do that. There's dramatic ways. There's all kinds of ways. Mm-hmm. So I don't see how it's a bad thing.
And regarding the one quantifying it, that machine in Dragon Ball Z that they used at the tournament to determine who's gonna go up against whom to make it somewhat fair, where you punch it really hard and it measures the force you exerted. Yeah, you can do that. That's a thing. And then you get quantifiable, you get data. And some people like data.
That system. Well, the reason they make this system is because they want to try to immerse you into the world, and I'll talk about immersion a little bit later. But they want you to, get a feel for how powerful the characters are.
Yes.
Right? But then it gets really stupid.
Well, okay, it can, but not necessarily.
Once we start to enter fictional worlds with large cast of characters.
No, that's just flesh. That's, again, more world building, more challenges, more characters as the story progresses. There's so much anime and manga that has a magic system. I think the beginning of the end just came out last season on anime. They have a color magic system, and the mages pass through colors to see how strong they are. Depends how much mana capacity they have, whether they're bound to a elemental spirit, or soul binding or whatever. There's all kinds of cool power, and it's not that the guy with the strongest color or the scale, like the rank 9 or whatever, they're not always the strongest magician. They just have that level of dedication to their craft. They might not even be a combat magician. They're just really good at magic. So I don't see how detailing the world in a ranked system, whether it's numerical, colored, class, it doesn't matter, is a bad thing at all, nor is it. In fact, it's intelligent to do it that way, or else you just have a bunch of people running around who are gods and some of them who aren't, and it doesn't make any sense.
And a very wide range of power levels, in a system, especially where it's quantified by number, it's not really useful. It's
extremely useful.
You know what I think is going on?
I don't know what's going on.
I think I have an idea. I have a hypothesis. This is a man who doesn't like quantifying any attribute because he is not winning in any attribute.
Oh, no, that's not nice. Oh, jeez.
This is the type of person who rejects IQ because he doesn't have a lot of it.
Because there's an upper limit or whatever. I was going to say there was a reference by Keats where he talks about poets of his time. And, people are learning about the elements, and nature, because he talks about nature and love and what have you. And he talks about the water. And he doesn't like the poets who talk about, moisture evaporates at this temperature, and the H2O is solidifying. And he says, I don't bother with all this technical know-how. I just let the water flow through my fingers. And I'm like, that's good for your perspective. And if you want to have a more mathematical perspective or numerical to do with the molar mass of water, or I don't care, whatever you want to do for poetry, go crazy, have fun, just be as, what was that ode to Spot on Star Trek that Data made a poem about his Felis Catus of taxonomic nomenclature, or whatever the hell that silly,
beautiful,
whatever that silly poem was. That was hilarious. It was all rhyming, and it all made sense, and it was brilliant. And everyone else
you can make science poems and science songs.
Exactly.
And if we didn't, for some reason, still didn't have the written word, we would still sing our scientific knowledge as Finland does with its mythology.
Oh yeah.
As the Vikings did, the Germans did with the Edda.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And there's
the Bible. The Bible is written in song. That's why the text is so weird.
Yeah, so there's lots of ways to convey information, and some teachers teach Latin. I remember my dad saying he learned Latin from his Latin teacher by reciting the verb conjugations, or the vowel, I can't remember, through a football chant, because it all rhymed. That's how the class remembered it, and that's how he learned Latin.
Yeah.
That's great. Who cares if it's mathematical? Who cares if it rhymes? Who cares? It's you use the tool for the proper.
Well, it helps when it rhymes.
Oh, obviously. Oh, yeah, but this guy's saying, it's bad. That's not, numbers aren't useful. Like, what are you talking about?
This is why Islam went into its dark age. Because some dude, I don't remember his name because it's some weird Arabic name, decided that numbers are an invention of the devil.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and that's when the so-called golden age of Islam ended and went into, what is today?
Well, even listen to, there's all kinds of rap battles people have been writing since ERB started and making it popular on YouTube. And they are very, some of those amateur rap battles are very clever. And they're poetic. They have so many references. What was the one with Oppenheimer versus Thanos? He was describing uranium 257 or 256 or something. I thought that was, okay, I know what that is. Like, it's a half-life of a stable isotope of uranium. Like, that's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. You learn a little bit of chemistry. So why not? Why can't you?
238.
I can't remember the exact. I could look at it from a periodic table, but I can't remember off the top of my head. So I don't see why that's not useful. I don't see why that's not entertaining. And I don't see why writers can't use it for any of those purposes.
I think an Enigma in the chat is completely on point. He says, this is starting to sound like, if you quantify everything, then I can't lie to you.
Oh.
That's a good take, I think.
Again with the socialists.
Yeah, that is why they hate data.
Okay.
They hate data because the data is against everything of every single of their policies. It destroys every narrative they have.
Okay. Well, hopefully he's going to keep going on a literary hate boner, I guess you want to call it.
How dare you use sources and fact?
Yeah.
That destroys by gaslighting you.
How dare you use numbers in a poetic way, a sing-songy voice? I don't know.
I can't brainwash you if you cling to this objective reality.
Anyway.
And these people who autistically go over the
So what?
Ableism.
The numbers and the data files, the text specs of the characters.
That's called cool. That's called having information about cool things.
Yeah, we're having fun.
Like
you are somebody who only gets fun out of being sadistic, destructive, demeaning towards others.
Look at science fiction and all the ships, all the mechs, all the weapons. That's like talking about a gun, but it's a gun for a mech. You're like, oh my god, it's like a Magnum 357, but like 10 times the size. Like, holy shit, that's you. Like, that's cool. I don't know why that's not fun to people who don't like science fiction, but for people who like science fiction, that's awesome.
People who like science fiction, they're all about that. They're basically trained nerds in that. And there's it might be the longest running science fiction series on the planet, if I'm not mistaken, in Germany, called Perry Rodan, or Perry Rodan, depending on whom you ask. And even the old ones, the earliest ones, like it's in issue, I don't know, 1800 now. And even the earliest ones, they had blueprints of all the spaceships and weird weapons and spaceships and whatever else there was. Like maybe you know these really big posters of the Star Trek ships or the Death Star, where you can see every level of it with its details of what is where, what rooms there are, how everything connects. That was Perry Rodan, or is Perry Rodan, to this day. For, what do we have? Over 50 years. Probably over 60 years.
I referenced the brown technical manual in the 90s from Star Trek, which had the cross-section of all the ships and some future tech that they were going to show in the later series. And all this stuff that you missed from episodes were all in there, that they explained how they were made and what they do and how fast everything goes. That's cool. And I don't see how that's a bad thing. And this is not just applicable to science fiction or Star Trek, but fantasy stuff, of the glossary of Tolkien, just all those words, all those languages, all those terms. You need to have reference to a glossary when you have a giant world like that. People get lost in just learning about that stuff, let alone the actual stories. So why is that not that's celebrated? People love the lore. People love StarCraft and Warcraft lore and 40K, all these big, huge wars and characters that span thousands of years. Like, this is awesome, fun stuff.
Yeah, and then you get crappy writers who add garbage to it, invert it, destroy it, and just self-insert, and then everybody hates it.
Well, maybe.
How can you mess up the coolest things ever? By not gatekeeping out the assholes and the idiots and the pretenders, and then you have hacks taking over.
Like, just think of that idea, though. Think of disliking the text specs of the characters. Like, there goes the entire D&D world. Can't make a character. Can't make a class system. There's point system.
The stats there are just there to help you get an idea of the relative nature of everything towards each other.
Yeah, how does magic work? We have to roll a die and find out. How powerful it is. Well, how high is your int stat?
No. That's game mechanics, and then there is lore mechanics. Where does the magic come from in the world? The magic in the lore has nothing to do with rolling dice. Well, except for one of the gods that does that kind of stuff. But that's how the lore is about. Well, how do the planes work? The elemental planes, or
well, that's the thing.
Like, really weird ones.
If you didn't have that knowledge, I'd be arguing, well, why can't it be for this? It's like, well, because that's not how the system works. You're like, oh, like, you need to have the lore of the knowledge of how the world works, or else none of this makes any sense. And he's arguing against that. I'm like, all right. I mean, play a D&D game. See how far you get with the Dungeon Master.
I just want to be the strongest by defining myself as that, and now you can't do anything against it. I'm impervious to your mega laser because I have the super mega shield.
He's effectively trying to be a wish fulfillment leprechaun Mary Sue character. Like, I don't know what exactly he's advocating for, but that's what it sounds like. Just this genie that just does whatever it wants.
Well, now he's just being destructive.
Yeah, I know.
And take that power level very seriously. And that is just insane to me and really misses the point of storytelling.
I don't know.
Everything he just said is projection.
I-
How do you have storytelling when you don't have any causality?
Think of
Because that's what he's arguing against.
Yeah, think of, again, Dragon Ball Z, because we talked about that before. Think of like Krillin and all the human characters who are nowhere near as powerful as Goku. And you're telling me, oh, no, they forget power levels, forget Saiyans, forget all these other gods and whatever. You're missing the point of storytelling if you do that. Like, really?
But then there's the fact that the storytelling straight up tells you that he's stronger than everyone else.
Yeah, and he gets progressively stronger as the story goes. The humans sort of teeter out. You know, they get a certain point.
I mean, the human characters don't compare, but they still train.
Oh yeah, they're still their same character. They're martial artists. They've always been martial artists. But they don't scale. They don't go up. They just sort of plateau, and that's that. That's fine. But that's the point. It's like, oh my God, humans are weak. Here are the Saiyans. Here are the gods. Here are all these other beings. And Goku is fighting them all. And his team. So we need that. We need to have that. And if you don't, then it's all just a mishmash of explosions and things blowing up for no reason.
The farthest away you can get from a sort of literary analysis perspective.
How do you analyze anything without logic and quantification in part?
Or consistent facts that, you know, my character is a tall redhead. In the next chapter, my character is a cat. Like, what? Why would you... He's advocating for insanity. This is amazing. I've never heard of this.
And Enigma, I disagreed. He would not be a Mr. Satan shill. Mr. Satan was a really kind-hearted man who cared about others. This guy is just a prick.
I'm not sure what he is. I think he's just the Joker character. He's just I'm an insane trickster.
No, the Joker has consistency and the code, and well, he is sane in the aspect of reason. He has a rationale. He has he has a rational mind.
Okay.
He just has horrible goals.
Oh, okay. Well, this is like contradictory. Some of this does not make any sense, and he's trying to say that literary analysis is lost if you use these techniques or if you have consistency, which is just bonkers. I don't even know how that works.
And Daimon, if there is no law, how is it world building? It's just a picture then.
That's constantly changing for a new picture.
Yeah.
Trying to quantify what character would win in a fight. That's another thing. I'm not a big fan of, death battles.
Okay. The very nature of stories is to have conflict. It doesn't have to be a physical conflict, but we try to say, hey, what if L from Death Note knew that Light was Kira? What would happen? How would he prove it? What would cause him to win? Because he lost. And that was like, well, he's a super smart guy. How did this happen? And there's something going on between the two where he knows it's Kira. He just doesn't have the evidence. So he can just kill him because L is pretty much a murderer himself. He does these things for fun because he's so super smart and he's just bored with life and is hopped up on sugar all day. But he can't. And then he finds a friend in this other genius who he knows is the murderer, but he just can't prove it. So he's got this like 2% chance, or what is it, 1% chance that L is Kira, because there's no one else possibly could be him. But he just can't prove it. He doesn't have the hard evidence that the rest of the world has.
I think what just happened is an echo of what I thought earlier, where he doesn't like the quantification because he cannot win in any attribute. And that's why he doesn't like death battles, because he knows deep down that he would lose every single one of them.
I don't know if that's an extreme case of projection or...
Yes.
He
He is.
He just doesn't like the math behind it because he sucks at math. I don't know. I just...
Yeah.
I don't know. It's such
I
a
think
crazy
we could.
thing.
I think we could fuel the energy crisis with his projection. Solve it.
It's thermal energy. Okay.
And who would win in a fight. Characters are tools for a story.
Yes.
Yes, and so is using power scaling a tool for a writer.
Yeah, it gives us attributes about them.
Why is that a bad thing? If you're saying characters are okay, but the other tools are bad, what are you talking about?
In the end, it's not just the raw numbers in each stat, but the combination thereof and what is made out of that.
Look at, I always bring up Princess Bride. Look at Inigo and the Man in Black. Inigo devoted his entire life to the sword, 20 years to fighting. The Man in Black, maybe 5, I can't remember the exact time, but he still beat Inigo. And Inigo's like, kill me, make it quick. And Man in Black's like, I would never do that. You're magnificent, but I can't have you following me, so let me smack you on the head. So just because the Inigo has been doing it for 20 years doesn't mean he's the best swordsman there is. But when he's faced with the six-fingered man, he is the strongest swordsman there is. He has all the motivation and then some to chase after him. So
the absolute adrenaline boost.
Nothing can stop him. Yeah, exactly. Gets stabbed in the chest, slows him down. No problem. Anyway, so does that make sense? Not really. From a scientific perspective, absolutely not. But from a storytelling perspective, it's like, yes, that is exactly what should happen.
Yeah, and for the Goku analogy, it's not raw strength that makes Goku win. That certainly helps, but he also knows when to apply what. He is battle smart.
Goku's many things. With Goku, I think his primary thing is the same thing which makes Batman, is that he never gives up. He's always trying, and he wants to keep trying. He wants to find the stronger. Like, he has that stupid thing in the abridged Dragon Ball. He's like, is he strong? Is Hitler strong? I want to fight Hitler. It's like, no, Goku, you don't want to fight.
Yeah, but the thing is like, if you really think about it, Goku has just as much of a tactical mind as Batman.
He is a tactical genius.
Just for a different focus.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's a savant.
In that one area, exactly.
He has this one specific topic that he is the master of, the absolute master. And other things he sucks at. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. But he has that I have to keep trying. I can try again. If I'm still breathing, I can do it again. I can come back, try something different. So that is what we like about him as a character, or as a human element of a character. And we don't see that as much with Batman, because Batman has probably already figured out the problem, how to beat it. But when it comes in relation to other heroes, because he's surrounded by all these amazing other heroes, Batman's the one guy who's never going to give up. He is always going to come at you and try again, and try one of his other plans, and try another technique or whatever. So that is what we like. Same with Superman, has his own human elements, and Wonder Woman, etc. So if we just take those character elements, which are also tools for the writer, away, what do we have left? We have madness, we have insanity, we have nothing. We just have a bunch of goop that we can shape into any form and then change it again. Because this guy thinks that's it's a bad idea to have characters that are consistent.
Do not trust weak, pudgy men with smug smiles.
Wearing glasses and a whatever that hat is called.
Schiebermütze.
And is, the ancients talked about how story, fiction, poetry was ultimately the purest form of philosophy.
What?
Excuse me?
Who said that?
Yeah, I want to know. I've never heard that. Does he mean like analogy? Like the analogy of the cave? Like that's one way to tell a story is like give an example of a theoretical or what? I don't know.
I'm not sure he knows what words mean.
I don't think he's ever read that. Like who told him? I really want to know. It's not Aristotle. It's definitely not Plato. And if it's not those two guys, the Enlightenment period maybe? I don't know. Story?
Which was a scam that did not adhere to the word it gave itself.
Well, when you say poetry is the ultimate or purest form, okay, these are extreme words I hate. Anytime someone uses this is 100%, this is pure, this is true, this is the real Scotsman, it drives me up a wall. So for him to say this, I'm like, all right, fine. Who told you that? Because it wasn't Aristotle and it wasn't Plato. Because they talked about poetry in philosophy, not the other way around.
Not put into terms with philosophical language, but through everyday experience. It was.
What?
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense.
The hell?
He's a sophist, not a philosopher.
No,
He's a sophist.
He's not.
This is sophistry.
This is not sophistry. This is stupidity. He's just blending ideas together. I'm like, what do you? Do you
Yes,
mean
if we are pedantic, which we should be in this case, yes, sophistry would be intellectually above him.
Yes.
But the product is the same.
Philosophical language, but through everyday experience. Is he talking about practical knowledge, like street smarts, or engineering? But it's like not theoretical. It's mechanical, or
that wisdom would still be derived from interacting with a world of causality.
I don't know.
Philosophy experience.
Philosophy? What the hell do you think philosophy is?
No, look. He doesn't mean experience as processing and learning something. He means experience as sense.
So
emotional reflex.
Well, that's not philosophy. I thought he's referring
of course
to
not.
A posteriori knowledge as opposed to a priori knowledge, which you would argue is mathematical and theoretical and up in the air, whereas a posteriori is observational, deductive, non-synthetic. It's all right there. You could point to it. And I'm like, okay, great. But then what are you what branch of philosophy are you referring to? Empiricism?
But I don't know he knows any of the words you just used.
Okay.
Fiction literature tells us a little bit about the world we live in.
So does everything in language. Literally every word in the we've ever had words for purposes.
But what if things teach us something about the world we live in? Isn't that canon?
Apparently, canon is bad.
So we must destroy the world we live in.
The world is a big, chaotic bundle of stuff.
That is why we need the eternal revolution.
Oh, good Lord. Oh.
To destroy everything that is.
Okay. God. We're at 5 minutes, guys. We're already losing our minds.
It tells us about the sort of rules about the logos, really, is what.
Oh.
No, what does logos mean?
So there are rules. There are actual rules about the world that are real and objective, and we can't get around them.
Like in a magic system in some other world where that is the equivalent to physics, or another version of it.
Which is its logos. That is the logos of that world. Yes.
What does logos mean?
What you mean? What does logic mean?
No, not logic. Logos.
You mean like reason?
It means word.
Well, literally, but if you're talking about
yes,
logos,
that's important.
We're talking about the 3 forms of argument: logos, ethos, and pathos.
Yes, that's for storytelling vital.
Well, yeah, you're
But
appealing.
the thing is, it starts with the word, because that describes a true thing. When he just babbles, he's lying, which is untrue words. That's how you destroy things and manipulate.
I'm not exactly sure what he's saying.
He's simply incorrect. You're either correct, that's logos, or you are incorrect, which is the opposite of that.
Well, for him to use that word, which is very specific to one person who referred to these ideas, I'm like, okay, you're using that specifically, meaning you read it or someone said it and you wrote it down and thought this was a good idea to use that.
There's a fun little pun in German about people like that, because for the word intellectual, we write intellektuell. Now you have this UE at the end where both of these vowels are pronounced distinctly, like in English, intellectual. Like the UA in English, we have UE. And the joke is that UE is an alternative writing for the umlaut Ü. And such people we then don't call an Intellektueller, but an Intellektuelle.
All right, well, let's go for a few more minutes. I want to get to some Transformers. This has all been gobbledygook for us to like sit back and go, whoa, dude, are you crazy? Anyway,
It's amazing.
I don't know whether I should like reference my philosophy or my English or my psychiatrist. I like who should I reference? Like there's so many problems with what he's saying.
The canon of your backstory is irrelevant, Smut.
It's all gobbledygook anyway. So
characters are ultimately a tool, a medium through which the story can tell the story.
Yes, that's true.
Through which these
The tautology.
themes, for example, can sort of come to be. No,
The themes can come to be. So the story takes place. Yes, that's true. But why would you say the themes come to be? That doesn't prove it.
Emerge.
They can. They don't have to. But that's the hope.
Oh god, I need to look back into old D&D, because there's these 15 or so different schools of magic,
Yeah.
and he's tapping into one of them by just using words in order to make things appear out of nothing.
There's a invocation school just
Yeah.
on words. Huh.
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing.
All right.
character story has its place in time.
What is a character driven story and what is a
So did your connection just now. That was cut out.
Am I back?
Are you talking?
Am I talking? Can you hear
Hello?
me?
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
we lost Smud. Your microphone is doing weird.
Oh yeah.
Count to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
Yay!
Like, what the?
Damn it! I didn't want to come back.
Dreadnought tells me there's 8 schools of magic. No, in the Baldur's Gate 2 character creator, there was over a dozen. That wasn't just 8.
In Pathfinder, there's at least 8.
8. Such a small number.
Okay. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Character-driven story, whatever that is. Here we go.
Say that shouldn't be a thing. But I should say that we should understand the role characters are supposed to have in a story. They're
Sure.
kind of like vehicles
Yes.
in a way, for theme, in a way.
In a way.
They are a vehicle for everything, not in a way. They literally are the personification of everything in a story. Not story means everything, but not everything in a story. Everything presented in the narrative in the story is through the characters. Yes. You can
He's a vehicle for the demon of confusion.
Yeah, you could present, let's say, fear through the architecture or the setting. You can do that too. But that's not why you're there. You're not there to look at the world. You're there to see the characters interact with the world.
Hyper fixated on the character's qua character, about them
What?
being independent entities.
What else would we be fixated on? The setting, the snowflakes. What do you want? The description of the dog in the background. Like, what? Why wouldn't we focus on the protagonist? That's what a story needs to survive and exist in a story. It needs the protagonist. It needs the antagonist. If it doesn't have those things, it's one guy in a slice of life eating bacon. The end. Which can be entertaining, but there's nothing there.
From the context of a story, then it becomes really hard.
From the context of it, that really narrows it down. Thanks. The context. The character exists within the context of a story. Really?
To talk characters in the context of everything. Everything is relational. Everything.
No, it can be. It should be, but that doesn't make it so. There's plenty of stuff in stories, like in world building, where the writer just made stuff. It's a waterfall. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just there. It's a beautiful little thing, part of the setting, and then the page turns and there's never spoken of again. Just to give you that little beautiful insight into the setting.
Identity thing, like that little I did there. The identity of everything is found within relationships with other things.
No, not necessarily. You could have the identity of a star simply be that. And you could argue, well, they learned constellations and how to sail and blah, blah, blah. Or the writer was just describing a waterfall being beautiful. Third person
Then
omniscient.
you would still have a consistency there somewhere, which then would be lore. It is that the relation of things to one another that makes that up. And if things are related to one another, we can quantify those things in being stronger on one side and weaker on the other.
Yeah, but even
or
if
being
you
polar
have,
opposites.
Even if you have those relationships, they could be bad. They could be uninteresting. They could be boring. They could be useless. They could be wasting your time. But that's what some world building is for the sake of it. Tolkien goes crazy with world building. He's like all these descriptions of the trees and the mountains and the birds and all this. It's like, okay, cool. But where's the plot? Like we're just walking by and all this stuff is happening in the background for no reason because that's nature. Great. But that's a poor relationship for the narrative because no one cares. But some people do. Some people like that stuff. They want a big, thick chapter about the magic of Mordor or the Elven village or whatever. That's fine.
And between characters, that's called story. But sometimes people can take the power levels, the quantified power levels of a character and try to create a sort of anti-story.
I don't know what that means.
What is an anti-story?
I don't know.
You know, a story is about how there's a status quo, there's a conflict, a risk, a threat to the status quo, and then there is the way the characters grow to learn to overcome that obstacle. You know,
the status quo is an obstacle?
The status quo is lore.
I don't. He was
because
like,
in order to have a status quo, we need to know what is.
Yeah, but
and what was.
He was describing the basic setup of a journey story, and then he's mentioned an obstacle. I'm like, what obstacle? What are you talking about? Where are we going? The status quo is not an obstacle. It can be, but he didn't say that. Is the status quo an obstacle? Not necessarily. What do you? Holy hell, this guy's confusing. I'm just like, what are you talking about, dude?
Just saying random words.
He must have attended a creative writing class and then just forgot half the ideas and just started ramming them together. Like, what? Status quo is an obstacle?
no, that's growth.
That's character what? What? What are you talking about? So some guy in a bank who is the status quo is an obstacle that the main character somehow overcomes. And that is character. I don't get what. Okay, he is jumping up like 5 chapters ahead in his textbook or something. Like, what?
The thing with Bulls is that it kind of creates a static position for the character if you take the power level too seriously.
No, it's very dynamic. That's the point. He grows. If it was static, he'd never change. The villain is seen as static at times because that's the nature of the villain. That's why they're wrong. It's not necessarily why they're bad, but it's why they think they're the best because they're so strong or whatever. If they were dynamic, they'd be growing with the protagonist, and there'd be a greater struggle. There'd be maybe the protagonist might lose, and then you'd feel for the antagonist because they are learning. They're like, oh, my way is not the right way. I'm not the god of this world. I have to change my ways to get what I want. Blah blah blah. And you feel compassion. You feel some semblance of normalcy. You want this person to do well, to learn, and sometimes they fail because they learn too late. So, yeah, I don't know where he's going with static, though, like specifically.
Now, I don't think any fiction that uses power levels takes the quantified power levels seriously.
Darth Vader, Dragon Ball, Wheel of Time, Star Trek. I can just go on and on. Just constant series. Stargate, like just every science fiction you could think of.
That's not how are told.
That's not how stories are told. You want to bet?
The point of stories is so people can go beyond what they typically can do.
Okay, he does a really sneaky thing. He talks about what story. This is not how stories are told, and then talks about what. Listen to this again because he just conflated 2 things.
The whole point of stories is so.
Right. So he first says this is not how stories are told, and to answer that, then, which we would expect him to then tell us how stories are told, he instead of telling us how stories are told, he tells us the goal of a story is. That's not the same thing. He started with a question and then answered a different question. This is how a politician talks.
I don't.
Whom you ask something and then he answers a different question that you didn't ask, but that sounds like he answered something.
Yeah, I don't think he has a script. He has a series of points he wants to make, and he's not connecting the dots. He's just jumping. And you're like, what?
I think he's just an amalgam of dots. And he's just like a pinball machine where the ball just jumps around at random.
That sounds better, yeah.
People beyond what they typically can do. But when people take these power levels seriously and they say, who would win in a fight? Oh, this character would win because their power level is stronger. That's not how it works. The character wins based on what the point is in the story. It's
That's something else.
Those two are not related.
That's just bad writing with plot armor and cutscene death.
Look at Dragon Ball. The characters die all the time, get resurrected. It's kind of a goofy thing, but I don't think that's the point. They're supposed to lose.
Look, just because there's only hack writers in Hollywood doesn't mean that is how writing is done.
I don't. When we can compare superheroes, for whatever reason, people like using that in Death Battle. They can use all kinds of characters, but fine. And it was like Batman versus Captain America or whatever. It's like, all right, You have a super soldier versus a guy who's several times smarter than the average Joe, has trained in every martial art, has stealth techniques up the wazoo, has a bag of gadgets, and in the example of the death battle from like 10 years ago, I think he used like pressure points or something. So it was just overwhelming skill and technique versus a really strong and fast guy, right? The power level of Captain America was probably much higher than Batman. Probably. I don't know how they met. If you want to give it a number, I have no idea. But Batman was a weapon on multiple levels fighting Captain America. So the fight actually happened, it was over rather quickly. Not because Batman like blew his brains out. It's because he tricked him. And he fell for it. And he had all those gadgets. And he had all these methods up to how to stop him. Because Batman has stopped stronger guys than Captain America. So I don't...
He stopped guys older than Captain America.
Older, stronger, faster. Yeah, exactly. All kinds. So I don't know what this guy means by power level anymore. Or specifically Death Battle. Because that's where I assume he's...
Death Battle's just bogus.
Death Battle is mostly fun. They use some numbers. Sometimes they get it wrong. They did Superman versus Goku a few times. I thought this time.
Yeah, I was gonna say which they screwed the pooch on completely.
Yeah, I'm like, it's for fun. But I try not to take it too seriously. If it's in the same universe, that's great. Then we could make sense of it. But if you're talking about like DC versus Marvel, or some comic versus some movie, it's like it's for fun. Don't worry about it.
Conflicts between characters depends on a lot more than just the characters.
Are you sure about that? Because that does not make any sense to me. The conflicts between characters depends on more than... Okay, we have a love story. We have a triangle love story, right? What other factor within that triangle would depend on two people falling in love?
I think he conflates this with other yet other entities and circumstances driving those characters, while that has nothing to do with the point, really.
Well, I want to know what he's talking about, because he's saying the conflicts between the characters depend on more than the conflict. It's like, okay, what? The setting? Other characters? Like, what exactly?
It's like saying the weather depends on more than just humidity. Like, oh, really?
I'm just trying to get what his answer is. I'm lost, because when you say there's characters and their conflict together depends on more than their conflict together, I'm like, yeah, maybe, but by themselves, no, exactly. Their conflict is exactly about themselves. That's usually the point of a plot, is protagonist wants a thing, antagonist wants the same thing, and then they fight over it. And that could be a romance, that could be a journey story, that could be a war, that could be anything. It just, like, what exactly is the conflict? This is so matter of fact. This is the way things are. It's like, can you give me an example?
Position. I'm way too close to the camera. Where do we go next?
That's not your biggest problem.
But a really interesting thing. Let me take this hat off. But a really interesting thing our friend points out in his tweet. I understand canon's not that interesting. I understand...
What do you mean it's not? Why do people read books? Why do people watch movies? They are interested in what happens next. Or maybe they read the 5th book and they have to go back and they want to know what happened before. Canon is why you like anything. I want to know what Sherlock did in A Study in Scarlet. I never read it. Let's go read it. Wow, what a great story. Blah, blah, blah. What? This is... I don't even know what this is. How is something which is the thing you like, not interesting. That's like saying, wow, I love that 1989 Batman movie. I'll never read or watch another Batman movie ever again because canon's not interesting. That is the... Why do you think people dislike Batman movies and people love the same movie? It's because to the fan who knows Batman or their version of Batman goes, that's not Batman, that's some weird writer interpretation, some violent, silly version, whatever. It's like, oh no, they're expecting the Snyder version of Batman. They're expecting the whomever flavor of Batman from the Silver Age or what have you. That's fine. You can dislike that for not being your flavor. That's great. But to say it's not interesting is just wrong.
Power leveling, power scaling, those quantified power levels are cringe.
Why?
But he brings up lore, which is interesting because this channel historically has kind of been a lore channel, specifically for Transformers lore. But his tweet is coming with good timing because I've been thinking a lot about the nature of lore. What purpose does lore serve? And what
I'm just check it out at this point. This is gobbledygook.
Yep. This is vapid beyond belief.
This is a lore channel, but there's a problem with lore. Lore is wrong and bad and stupid and retarded. Are you insulting yourself? Like, what is... Like...
Hey, whoever found this, I have no idea how, but good on you for stomaching, I don't know, 30 seconds of it.
Yeah,
before suggesting it, because this one takes the cake.
This is a fumbling...
Maggie May makes more sense than this.
At least Maggie May has a stance. At least she dislikes Trump and this and that. You're like, all right, fine. The movie Fight Club is fascist, whatever, fine. This guy's like, lore is bad. I'm a lore master of Transformers. You're like, okay.
and Red may get things wrong and completely misinterpret, but she's not on a warpath with lore, with logic itself.
Yeah.
She believes she's using it, at least.
And with other crazy, like, what was her name? Witten Folly, she uses a feminist lens without telling anyone she's using a feminist lens, but at least she has it. She has a lens. She's not, like, taking a hammer to her own life, saying, yeah, feminism sucks. Like, what? What? Yeah, that's all you believe in.
I think he's a wonderful example of the Dunning-Kruger effect.
I don't know what he is. This is insane.
Anyone capable of self-reflection would never make this video and put it online.
If I made a D&D channel, and I go, rules are dumb, stats are dumb, this is fantasy genre stupid. You're like, what? you make D&D videos. What are you talking about? Elves can be whatever they want.
The logical ones, but there's none of that here.
No, this is insane. Okay, let's get to the last 2 minutes just to see how bad it gets.
Yeah. Oh God.
All right.
What purpose does a lore...
Okay, that didn't work. Let's try again. Oh, that's why. All right.
For you. My background as a Christian, Southerner, and of Okinawan heritage shapes the way I see the world.
What? See, he said he's a Christian Southerner.
This could be someone else.
You cannot be a Christian if you oppose causality.
He could be describing something else. We just jumped ahead.
And canon.
We don't know.
Logic. he believes to be using logic, but he rejects causality. Law is all about that.
All right.
But all are welcome here. That's sort of the mission statement. That's sort of the vibes Commander Radix is having going forward.
You're referring to yourself in the third. That's amazing. This is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The disassociation between self and and persona is just amazing.
Ask myself, for what reason am I doing this YouTube thing? For one, it's
Holy hell, dude! You're doing a video on whatever Transformers lore, and now you're having an existential moment at the end of your video. I think you need to sit back and evaluate your life. Just take a day off.
I think is this a juxtaposition to claim to be a Christian and then use bisexual lighting? Or is it just a complete lack of awareness?
Could just be a mother's basement sort of idea. Who knows?
self-expression. Yes, that makes it very self-indulgent for me. But what purpose am I putting it out there?
Oh my God! Can we stop? This is dumb.
There's nothing there.
Why am I here? Why am I doing this for you? What does it mean? Dude, just grow up.
He belongs in a 1960s coffee shop with some avant-garde artist.
Why do I like
with a
storytelling? I don't know, dude. All right.
Yoko Ono type.
Do we have stream memes?
Do we have any?
We must. Let's see what we got. What is this? Does anyone have any idea? Is that Starscream? Oh dear.
Oh no. Very nice of everybody to pull out Transformers memes, but I don't think there's anything memeable in the video itself.
Yeah, we didn't get to any references to Transformers, unfortunately, because we couldn't take it after 8 minutes. Where are they now? Oh. Any other character? Why do they like that guy so much? He's the boombox? Alright, these are cool and all, but they have nothing to do with what we just covered, so. More. Why didn't I think that is the answer to all my problems? Yo, Shockwave, since you're a scientist, why don't you just make a second optic for yourself? Huh.
Unnecessary. Shockwave is already perfect.
There can be only one combiner? Oh my God. And that combiner's name is Devastator. Alright. Oh, what's this? Hey, Megan. Oh, hey, guys. What did you just call me? Megan? That's your name, isn't it? Well, actually, Meg, in short for something else. Peter, would you give this to the nurse? Megatron. Robots in disguise. Oh, God.
That's great.
Oh, boy. So technically it was a Transformers.
Oh. There was an edit war about this?
Megatron Griffin, that's great.
I mean, the right side is then obviously the correct one.
Yeah. Megatron.
So if it's a official name.
That's awesome. There are only two genders, Autobots and Decepticons.
Correct.
I'm tired of pretending that it's wrong to be attracted to female Transformers, with especially Windblade and her beautiful thighs and chest. Sure. Be attracted whatever you like. Transformers sex tape. Oh dear. I die for your sins? Oh, does he?
How many times?
Shockwave, sexy scientist, boob. What?
Oh, that's a good joke. That is
My Little Pony. Featuring Pinkie Pie.
the crossover we all yearn for.
Really?
Guess.
Wow, we had a lot of memes of Transformers. It has nothing to do with the video.
Well, they are more consistent.
I know, but lore is retarded, so yeah, I don't know.
That is a horrible art.
Did he just say Megatron? Oh boy. There is no Megatron. Optimus Prime, leader of the Amongabots. All right.
Yeah, it's an Among
Unicron.
Us reference.
Unicron, don't, Prime. I can give you everything you want. Then die. I said it in the voice of Worf when Q became mortal.
Too many tiny parts.
Wow, so many. There he is. Oh, wow. Is that Lego? Very specific Lego.
Probably a lot of special Lego
Yeah.
parts. Where's the Shockwave version?
Yeah. Pass down the lore. Lore. Okay. That's it.
Okay.
A moment of madness in our otherwise relaxing weekend.
We are still alive, but only because we had to pull out.
That was not every sentence was insanity, but every premise to what he was talking was just wrong. Like it was just fundamentally wrong. Not even just like I'm confused wrong, but that's just like, what are you even saying? Lore is bad. Lore is retarded. By the way, this is a lore channel. Logos. He used the word logos in there. Not sure what he knows what it means.
He used a couple words.
Oh yeah. Canon.
None of them had anything. Not he didn't use them in any way that made sense, so he probably doesn't know what they mean.
Good God.
But it makes him sound smartish to people who know less than him,
I don't
or
know.
as little as him.
I don't know what even postmodernists sound reasonable. This was just a. I
This
don't.
is okay. I would say okay. There are competent postmodernists, which are still wrong. There are competent sophists, and there are incompetent ones. And I think this is the incompetent version of a sophist.
I think he likes a subject like creative writing or stage or drama or whatever, one of those areas. He doesn't know enough. He thinks he knows just enough to talk about it without understanding the terms. Like he doesn't know what theme is to define it. He can try, but he'll get it wrong. He doesn't know what story is. He doesn't know what narrative means. He doesn't know what plot means. He doesn't know what character means. He has an idea. It's just really off. And I don't think he could be having a horrible teacher. That's possible. But it sounds as if he did not pay attention in either lecture hall, tutorial, maybe the library. He just didn't go and sat down and read a textbook. Because if you have a textbook on English writing or creative writing, it spells it out. This is how a story is told. This is the first part of a story. This is the act one, and this is the act one structure, and this is how drama is made, and this is why we have plots, and da-da-da. Maybe he skipped ahead. I don't know. He definitely missed something there. But to say that canon or history or consistency or clarity is bad is fundamentally wrong. And I don't think he means that. I think he's just confused. Because a lot of people who have this sort of podcasting narrative or whatever you want to call the technique of just sitting there and just sitting there and talking. It's like he's under pressure. He didn't think this through properly.
It's all pretentiousness. He's deluded to believing that he knows what he's talking about, that he's competent.
Yeah.
And that what he does with these scene changes is in any way adding to what he's doing or funny or...
Oh, anyway.
Like what a 14-year-old would believe makes a cool video.
Maybe maybe a 17-year-old first day in university and just being overwhelmed and just reading all their books and at like 9 o'clock at night they're going to make a video and they're just like, oh, I gotta I got to get my feelings out. But attacking like autists, that was like, okay, that's kind of stupid. There's no reason to do that. You know, just glossing over data. Oh, you don't have to know all this lore. Like, you don't have to, but don't argue that it's irrelevant. This is like that Patrick Willems saying plot doesn't matter. Like, okay, buddy. At least that was structured. At least Patrick tried. It was still wrong, but at least he had a premise. He stuck to it and said, okay, plot is bad, blah, blah, blah. This guy was just rambling.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're not going to cover this guy anymore because I don't think he gets any better.
To end on a positive note.
Yeah, we're never, ever going to cover this guy.
Yeah. Thanks for the experience.
The areas of YouTube I'll never, ever hear from again. Yeah. Thankfully.
Yeah. And on a positive note, today I learned there is a recent publishing, relatively recent, of a big hardcover comic book of Captain Future. Check it out. It's amazing. And it's better colorized than the Jodorowsky comic.
Oh, really? Nice.
Jodorowsky has a comic series.
Which one did he continue? I thought he stopped.
It came out in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Man.
And he mocked Disney in it. it absolutely hilarious and absolutely deranged.
Yeah, for sure.
In a positive way, because it's all the crazy science fiction you could not imagine.
Well,
so much interesting stuff out there that we're dealing with this.
No. Yeah, there's better things to pay attention to. This is not one of them. So let's go do that. Thanks, guys, for the suggestion. Keep them coming. Keep the voting going. We will talk to you soon. Have yourself a great weekend and a great night. Good night.
Good night.